Hey everyone, your boy Dave here, back again. I've been promising you guys for a long time now that we were going to check out all three duty belts plus the vests, and the time has come. We will delay no longer. The time is now. We're going to look at all three duty belts, an internal vest, an external vest, and I'm going to lay out for you absolutely everything that I keep in those belts and in the external vest. And some of that stuff might be new and interesting to some of you. A lot of it, I'm sure, is stuff, at least some variation of this stuff, that all of you probably carry on a regular basis too. But some of the stuff might be new and interesting. We're also going to talk about the differences in how the belts are set up. One of them that a lot of you have seen already is set up to ride with an internal vest. The other two are set up a little differently to ride with an external vest. And those of you who use external vests with plenty of accessories and gear on the front are going to understand why you'd want to make some differences to how you set up your belt when you're using an external vest. It can limit your ability to grab certain things and move in certain ways in certain inopportune times. So we're going to get into all that. But before we do, a couple quick little notes. I want to say thank you to those of you who watched the video I did a couple weeks ago on the Jacob Blake shooting. That was an extremely frustrating video and incident, in my opinion, because the community just so vastly misunderstood what was happening and what they saw. And some of those community members refuse to listen to anything, but a lot are willing to listen and have open enough minds if you come at them in a certain way and try to help educate without demeaning what they think. And along those lines, I've been working on these panel discussion shows. We've done a whole first season of them, and they're called Before the Court. And you can find them on YouTube. So if you're interested, go ahead and find the Before the Court YouTube channel and scroll down the episodes that we have and find a case that's interesting to you. What that show is a panel discussion between me, a veteran detective, a criminal defense attorney, and a social author. And the four of us take one case at a time, and these are all cases that have gone viral in the national news media. They're cases that all of you will have heard about and probably have opinions on. Well, we're about to start doing a second season of those episodes where we're going to talk about more police shootings. We're going to talk about sovereign citizens who are the bane of my existence. And we're going to talk about lots more stuff. So if any of you feel like watching that, first of all, you will have all the ammo and information that you will ever need to win any argument or debate about any of those cases after you watch Before the Court episodes. But also, they're just really insightful conversations where none of us fight and yell at each other, although our opinions vastly disagree. But I would love your opinions. I would love your insight into those cases. All of you that are subscribers here and that watch these videos on police gear, I'd love to know your thoughts on some of those cases. So check out that channel, scroll through the episodes we have, and if you find one that's about a case that's of particular interest to you, go ahead and watch it, and then give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you feel. Leave us a comment and hit subscribe, because if enough of you have opinions you want to share, then I'll be really excited to start on season 2, and I will bear in mind a lot of what you tell us. So Before the Court, go ahead and check that out. It's some really insightful information about a lot of cases that you have heard about in the last year or so, from the traffic stop of Lieutenant Caron Nazario to the shooting of Micaiah Bryant and plenty of others that you probably all have heard of. On another note, if any of you are particularly EDC fans or into knives and flashlights and EDC gadgetry accoutrement, go ahead and check out my other channel, Civ Ops Gear, CIVOPS Gear, where we talk about all of the EDC gear for everyone from the discerning civilian to the experienced operator. And there's a lot of really cool knives on there. I just kind of started that recently, so there's only 12 or 13 short little videos on there. but there's a lot more content coming out. If you're into knives, flashlights, gear, stuff to carry in your pockets, gadgets, stuff like that, go ahead and check out CivOps Gear. But in the meanwhile, if you're not into any of those things and you just want to see police, security, tactical protection gear that we're talking about here, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please hit it right now. Leave a thumbs up, leave a thumbs down. Either one could potentially be helpful. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think about the gear. And with all that said, let's jump in right now to 3 duty belts and some vests and talk about the realities of wearing all of this stuff. All right, everybody, here we are with duty rig number 1, which a lot of you have seen. In fact, not so long ago, I gave you an update on the things that have changed on this belt. Only thing that's changed since that video is I replaced the taser holster with a Safariland taser holster instead of Blackhawk. I swapped one of the Blackhawks out to one of the next belts you're going to see in just a second for the specific reason that the Safariland I found much more difficult to cant, and it really wasn't necessary, and I wanted the ability to cant the taser rig for the external vest belts. So you'll see what I mean in just a second. So starting all the way on the end here, first things first, we have our Zac tool keychain over here, and of course car keys and POV keys, but I also keep this cuff key right on there. I have several different cuff keys. This is the one I'm using at the moment. Why? Well, I like the flag. That's the only reason. I have my what is this, MK3 size pepper spray. Pretty standard. Most of you are carrying that. And then in the Safariland 6360, which we've already talked about, that was my clear choice winner. Of course, I have my Glock with the Streamlight and the Trigicon. Next to that is the baton holster. There was a time long ago when this baton holster sat canted where that taser holster is. But once tasers became a standard carry item for me, the batons moved over here behind the sidearm. Then, of course, our 2 sets of cuffs. A lot of times I'll swap the secondary set out for a hinge cuff, but usually carry chains in this belt. Of course, between those two are the medical gloves. These are, as important as anything on there. Not only if you run into somebody who's injured or bleeding or covered in, fill in your favorite bodily fluid. But also if you tase someone, or if you use force that in some way you have to cope with or deal with, if you're going to remove probes, etc., gloving up is always a good thing. Of course, I have patrol gloves, but medical gloves give you so much more dexterity with your fingers than patrol gloves do. Moving over to this side, we talked about the flashlights already. I'm a huge fan and carry this one on this belt all the time. This is the Streamlight Strion HL, so that's with me. Of course, a tourniquet, a cat tourniquet. I didn't pull that out right now because you all know what those look like, and frankly, it takes a little more time to pack that up correctly in here than it does just to put the Streamlight back in. Most of these things are pretty easy to slide back into those pouches, but cat tourniquets, not like it's difficult, but takes a little more time. I didn't think it was necessary to pull that out. And then the Safariland taser holster, which basically uses just the standard Safariland SLS system, your self-locking system, without any other levels of retention, because it's less lethal. So when this is curved around your body, it's much easier to reach this, and of course you can deploy the SLS all the way. You all probably know when belts are laid out flat, nothing quite fits correctly. And then, mags, spare mags. So this is pretty much with the internal vest that sits underneath a uniform shirt, pretty much just your standard run-of-the-mill patrol setup here. You know, there's not a lot to this that most of you all don't also carry. So this is what it is. That's belt number one. Now we're going to get into the external vest and the belts that go along with that. Stand by one. Okay, and we're back with rig number two. Now rig number two is also used with a uniform. Okay, so, and it's required that it's basket weave. So, but it's a little bit more flexibility on my part, so it's not full leather. This is the Bianchi sort of faux leather. I forget what it's called, but if you all have shopped a lot of duty rigs, you know that Bianchi makes this sort of false leather that's lighter weight. And so that's what this entire rig is. I also use the Safariland flex adapter with the drop plate because I don't want to drop this down real far when I'm, you know, wearing like uniform pants and not like tactical pants or jeans or something like that. But this does give some more flexibility when sitting and bending. And so I like this rig a lot. And of course, using the Safariland QLS system, I just take this right off of the belt slide on belt number one, slide it right into the adapter here, and good to go. Everything else is going to be pretty much the same, except you're going to notice that the mag pouches have swapped to the other side. These are now on the right side of the belt. The reason is because, well, I'm going to get to it when we get to the taser. So mag pouches are the same, still have the OC right there, still have the same firearm, but now in the Safariland flex adapter with the thigh plate. Same baton. This uses open top cuff pouches. I just find flaps are kind of just meant to get in your way, slow things down. I like being able to just reach back and throw a finger in here and yank those out. No problem. And you know, if you try to grab them up on top and pull them, you'll run into some of the tension that holds them in. I like to throw a finger under there and just use that leverage to pop them right out. Medical gloves again. Now we get into this side. A lot of this is going to be similar with the same Streamlight Strion HL, another tourniquet. But here's the difference. The Blackhawks taser holsters I found much easier to cant to an extreme degree. And the reason I moved the mags to the other side of the belt, which doesn't move them very far from where they were originally, just onto the other side of the buckle. But the reason I did that is because when you're wearing an external vest with all those accessories on the front, it can be very difficult to reach all the way across with your strong hand to your weak side and straight draw your less lethal, because it's hard to reach all the way around yourself with all the stuff on your vest. And we're going to look at the vest in a second. So I wanted to move the taser up forward so I didn't have to reach all the way around to get it, and then cant it so it was even easier. And of course, again, when this is, you know, curved around your body, it doesn't conflict with the key keepers. Now, I also moved the key keeper from the other side, and that is to make room for the mag pouches on the other side. So the OC spray was no problem. That just pushed back a little bit further against the holster, made plenty of room for the mag pouches. The key keeper swapped to this side to make room for those mag pouches, and it doesn't conflict with the taser. So the less lethal is now moved forward on the belts that go with the external vest. It's moved forward and it's canted simply to make it easier to reach across myself less in order to reach my less lethal. So that's the setup with the Bianchi rig. And now we're going to get into the nylon rig, which is set up almost identically, but with a slightly different holster. Stand by one. All right, now we're back with belt number 3. Belt number 3 is all nylon. It is not used with a uniform. It's mostly used with just plain clothes. It usually is just over like jeans. So there's more flexibility as far as, you know, what's okay, what's usable, what's acceptable. So with this one, I use the full Safariland drop leg system. It goes a little farther down your thigh, and not only is the QLS system attachable and unattachable, but the entire thigh plate is unattachable and attachable. So that simply clicks in here. You can take it off and remove it. You can take it off and remove it with the holster on it. And that's how it sits. So even with the firearm fully locked in place, if I'm in an office, or my office, a lot of times I'll just pop that part off and leave the belt on and just pop this part off, because it's so much easier just to lose all this weight on the thigh. Other than that, mag pouches are the same, still on the same side as the last rig, specifically for the exact same reason. You'll see that everything else is the same: mags, OC, baton, cuffs, med gloves. The Stryon pouch actually does have a flap on it, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's not a particularly good reason. It's because when I was finding a nylon pouch for it, all I found were the ones with the pouches. And I thought, well, the flashlight is probably one of the things I use the most, but is the least urgent in being able to draw, and moving a pouch wasn't such a big deal. Tourniquet again, although now I'm using the non-basket weave tourniquet rig. Everything is non-basket weave now. It's all nylon or non-basket weave. Taser is, again, in the exact same canted, moved forward position for the exact same reason, to accommodate for the external vest with all the accessories on it. And then, of course, the key keeper again, although this key keeper has slightly different cuff cuff key. This is one of my much older ones. I think this is probably like an old Zach tool key or something, but still works great. So that's the difference. This all nylon rig uses a full detachable drop down thigh system, and I super love it. So now let's take a look at the outer vest, and you'll see what's on the front of it and why it can be difficult to reach all the way across from with your strong arm to your weak side, and why I chose to move my taser forward and cant it. Stand by one. Okay, here we are finally with the external vest. This is a Safe Life Defense external carrier and vest with their new upped level of protection. It's I think they call it 3A plus, and this protects against stabs and slashes, as well as 5.7 millimeter rounds, as well as electric charges like tasers, things like that. So this vest offers a really phenomenal, really cool level of protection. Now, you're going to say to yourself, maybe, is he carrying a second taser? No, I'm not. This is not a second taser. This is a JPX pepper gun. And you might be saying to yourself, pepper gun, what is that? Just shoot a little stream of OC? No, the JPX could possibly be, I say could possibly because I'm not sure that they are really, I'm not sure their marketing game is as strong as it needs to be. Certainly not what tasers was. This gun could be the next taser for a lot of departments, agencies, companies, firms, etc. This thing is really phenomenally effective and cool. This uses these little cartridges. In fact, they have several versions of this. They have another version that holds 4 shots. This one holds 2. And if you can see in the back of this cartridge, this has 2 rounds, both with primers. And this actually uses a charge to shoot out at very high velocities a thick glob of what's basically OC and mace and a couple other nasty things all combined together. And I will share a link in the description to show you a clip of a video of one of these being fired. But I'm also going to do a video coming up soon where we're going to go out into the outside into our little test area, and I'm going to compare for you what this looks like being fired at a target versus a taser. So these are extremely effective, and you simply load a new charge onto the track and it snaps right into place, and boom, boom, you can, there's no sort of cocking or recharging, you just fire. And it comes with a built-in laser activated by this switch right here. It does not come with a light built in like tasers do, but it does have the laser. And of course it has a rail, and JPX makes its own light that mounts underneath here, which I have, but then you need a whole different holster and it becomes very large and obtrusive, and so it's just not really necessary. JPX guns are really, really cool and highly effective, and give you at least 2 shots. And so we'll get into talking about that more. I carry this right here canted on the front of the vest. Next thing I carry is probably my favorite admin pouch that I've ever used. I've tried several different ones. What I love about this, besides the fact that it also has what they consider a mag pouch, but which I use for a multi-tool, is that it has this flap here. And of course I've removed nameplates and badges and you know, specific identifying features, but this flap allows you at the first sign of you know, I need 3 forms of ID, or let me see your picture ID, I'm afraid for my life, or you know, any of this you know, just trying to give you trouble nonsense. It allows you to, with Velcro, just pull this flap, extend it down, and you have your full identification in a clear see-through window that's inside this flap. So that allows you to just flip that down and show off any ID that you want to. Of course, then in the main pouch, you know, you carry, you know, paperwork and things you want to have on you. I don't normally use a basket weave notepad cover. I just threw that on there mostly for you guys because I had this sitting in a drawer. I really never used it, and I thought, well, let me throw that on for the video. You know, your notepad's probably one of your most important things that you carry. And then of course it's got 2 pen slots. I happen to love the Zebras. I love Zebra F701s. They're all stainless steel bodies. There's great grip on them. And frankly, I just happen to really like these pens. I like how they write. I like that they're all solid steel and not plastic. And so I carry 2 of those. Body camera, obviously. If you use a Velcro patch, that sits right here. If you use a Velcro badge, or like a patch badge, that would go right here. If you use a metal badge, that actually can also go right through the MOLLE here and attach. There isn't actually a specific spot for a badge pin to go through, but it can just sit right through these straps here. More magazines. No matter which belt I'm using, you all saw that I've got 2 mags. I carry 3 more extended mags, only slightly extended, just extended base plates in here. Why so much ammo? Well, have any of you seen the world we're living in today? And also, you know, I work alone an awful lot, and so as many forms of, you know, have you ever heard 2 is 1 and 1 is none when you're talking about carry options? Well, 2 less lethals, this and the taser, and as much ammo as possible, because listen, Complacency is the enemy of safety. Always. Complacency is the enemy of safety. There is no amount of too prepared one can be unless that preparation starts to slow you down and hinder your movement or something like that. But in this case, it does not. I had plenty of room on the vest right here to throw more ammo on. This is a Benchmade rescue tool, you know, cutting seat belts, window breaker, just a cool little, you know, kind of self-defense tool if you need it. I just keep that in there. This is my main cuff key. Of course, keep that right, you know, easily accessible right there. This is a Zac tool, window breaker. And this is pretty cool, actually. I haven't used this yet. I have broken a couple of windows, and I've used this, the Benchmade, for that once or twice. I just got this recently, and it was sort of a spur of the moment impulse buy. I think I got it from CopQuest when I was at the warehouse, and this was sitting by the register, and I thought, oh, I've got the space for that. Try that out. That's kind of cool. It's not a window breaker in the sense that it's got this carbide tip and you just punch the window with it. This is actually on a spring, and you would put the tip up against the glass and then pull back and let it slide, let it go, and the inertia, the momentum from this heavy tip being sprung forward shoves this carbide tip right into the glass. This creates so much force. I actually just used this the other day as a punch into some wood, and it worked as well as like a regular punch does. This really creates some force, so that's pretty nifty. And then, of course, you know, a radio pouch. Everybody's going to have a completely different radio. Departments, companies, firms, agencies, all are going to hand you a different radio. I work with a department that hands me one radio. The company that I run uses whole different radios. And then I have a personal radio. They're all different. And so I've got multiple mic extensions, and I'll use whichever one I'm using at the moment. So that's the exterior vest. And you can see that if you're wearing this and you try to reach from your strong side, in my case, my right hand, all the way across this to the middle of my weak side to draw a straight taser, there's just an awful lot to reach around here. I have to reach around the thickness of this, the thickness of these, the radio with an antenna coming out, this admin pouch, which basically gets into your armpit at that point. And so again, you know, one of the things with an external vest, and the very reason that none of these accessories are all the way down on the lowest level of MOLLE, is because when you go to sit down and you've got stuff on the front of your belt, if you have things down below the bottom of your vest, hanging even just a little below, you're going to most definitely end up conflicting in the same space your accessories from the vest with the gear on, with the pouches on your belt. And so everything for me rides up one level of MOLLE. And of course, your vest has to be sized correctly. If this is sticking down too far low on you, it's going to conflict with your belt even when you are just standing. But certainly if you go to sit down, and certainly if you go to sit down as much as it takes to get into a squad or a shop or whatever you want to call them. Back home, we called them squads. Out here, we call them shops, whatever. So that's the story with this. So you can see that it's much easier, as far as the belts I showed you, to have my primary less lethal moved forward at about my 10 or 11 o'clock and canted forward, so that I only have to reach to about there rather than all the way around to my weak side and straight draw it. So that's the external vest. I certainly, you know, I'm not sure I should recommend a particular vest. Some people use Safari Lands, which are awesome. super awesome. But I really wanted to try out this Safe Life Defense with this upgraded level of protection. I'm really glad I did. I actually really am enjoying this vest a lot. For the added level of protection, I mean, it's pretty comfortable. I mean, it's a pretty standard, you know, MOLLE carrier, but it's got a lot of great features on it and a lot of great positions for the MOLLE. The MOLLE does not go all the way around your side straps. There is more MOLLE in the back, but most of the usable MOLLE is just, you know, here from your chest down. And so that's the setup on the outer rig. That's why I have everything set up the way I do. I hope this was helpful. Maybe some of you found some ideas or something you want to try out. And beyond that, hope everybody stays safe. I'll see you in the next video. As soon as weather and time and all the factors line up, I'm going to take you guys out to the little demo area we have, and I'm going to show you the difference between a JPX and a Taser. And I think you'll find that pretty insightful and cool. So stick around. Please hit subscribe if you enjoyed any of this. If it was helpful at all, leave me a comment. Hit me with a thumb, either an up or a down. And I'll see you guys all soon. Everybody stay safe, okay? Thanks.